I want to take a second to address this recent Deadline article that came out confirming what a lot of television writers have been saying for the last 2 or 3 years, which is that the number of television writers' jobs have drastically reduced. And I want to do a longer YouTube video about this topic because it's super important for people who want to be television writers, for people who are currently in the industry. But for TikTok, I just want to make a few points, which is that my number one point is that if you have been actively writing for television for the last few years, or if you've been in the industry and working towards becoming a television writer, then you are not surprised by this news because you hopefully have been reading Deadline regularly for as long as you have been in the industry. And if you are not currently reading Deadline or publications like Variety, like Hollywood Reporter, that keep a tab on the business of Hollywood, then you very much should be reading them because they give you really important information about the moves that the business of Hollywood is making. And therefore, it helps you to make decisions on how you're going to move. So that's my first piece, is that if you've been paying attention, if you've been reading these publications, if you've been talking to other writers, if you've been doing the footwork of networking and doing all that stuff, then you should not be surprised by this. And I want to say this because it's really important, because I think a lot of times creatives, writers, they merge their creative pursuits or their creative, what's innately in them creatively with the business of Hollywood, which I always think is a recipe to set you up for disaster because it makes it so that you're a little bit naive about your creativity, which I absolutely have done, and I've been in your shoes, and it's why I'm sharing the knowledge and the information now, is that one of the best things that you can do is separate your creativity and your desire to express yourself creatively from the business of Hollywood, because then you're going to move different. You're going to make decisions that are best for you and not based off of a business that is very unstable for the most part, has always been. It has never been an industry that provides stability, sustainability for writers and creatives. It has potentially for a very few people at the very top who are really experienced. And yes, during the television boom, the golden age of television, there were a lot more jobs than there ever have been. But the fact of the matter is that television has never been a reliable, sustainable industry. It is 100% possible to make a living and to build a career, but it requires that you have an entrepreneur mindset. It requires that you know how to hunt for your dinner and not be, as I like to say, someone with an employee mindset who is always waiting for someone to tell them what to do. You very much have to be entrepreneurship minded if you want to do what you want to do in TV. And you have to separate your creativity from the job and the work of pursuing television money, frankly. So I'm going to talk about this longer, but those were my initial thoughts when I saw this, was that number one, you shouldn't be surprised if you've been paying attention because it is the truth. And number two, that you should always be using this information to make educated, thoughtful decisions about your career path and about how you move when it comes to pursuing a creative career.